Hello, my name is Fran. Welcome to myboxingcoach.com. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about two things that boxers love doing, right? And I'm also going to address three things that they don't quite love so much. Before we get into that, if you are looking for 7 things to really help you on your boxing journey, from mindset, how to set up your home gym, the top 10 basic skills, your training regime, how to build power and speed, 7 tips for shadow boxing, 5 tips for hitting the bag, and how to build your power and speed, then you can download my free book, The Beginner Boxer Toolkit. There's a link below. Go to my site. All you need is your email, and there'll be a link at the end of the video. It's a really great tool, whether you're in this for fitness or for competition. Okay, on to these things about boxers and the things they love doing and the things they don't quite love doing so much. So if you think of a boxing training session or a boxer's activities, I like to think of it in 3 tiers. You have this top tier of stuff, that's the stuff they love doing, they can't get enough of. And in that tier, to me, there are 2 things. If I opened our boxing club, right, and if I said to the team, right, you can do whatever you want today, this is your chance to decide what we do in the training session, there would be 2 things on the list, and 2 things only: sparring and mitt work, pad work, right? Sparring, boxers just love it. You know, it's that bit of competition that they can have with their fellow boxers, the interaction, they test their skills out, they can feel good. Look, they just like hitting people and hitting stuff. You know, it's just one of them. There's some boxers are even mad enough to like being hit. And it's similar with pad work. When I'm on any coach will tell you this, when I'm on pads with a boxer, you know, you can really make that boxer feel great, and you can work with them and they develop their skills. And that's it, you know, that's what they really love doing, that interaction, the dynamic nature of the situation, that I can pull them here, there and everywhere, and we can have great fun on the pads. So sparring and pads are the 2 things that they absolutely love. Left to their own devices, that's all they do. And of course, they'd never be fit enough to compete if that's all they did. If all they did was spar and do pads, they'd never be fit enough to compete. Then there's this middle tier of things they quite enjoy. It's a very English thing. Oh yes, they quite enjoy. In this category, it's things like shadow boxing. It's things like bag work and drills and technical sparring with each other. At sparring where they don't hit each other as such, they work with each other on specific passages and drills. Look, they're still getting to hit stuff. It's not quite as dynamic, you know, but they do still enjoy it because they're still hitting stuff. It's really important to them. Shadow boxing is a vital part of a boxer's training, and, you know, again, really important stuff. But again, if they just did sparring and pad work and they just did bag, shadow and tech drills, they still would not be fit enough to compete. If you want a boxer's type fitness, you've got to be very rounded. Which brings us on to the 3 things that they tend not to love. Okay, the first one of those is this. Okay, that rather shaky video was me running up and down some steps as I was halfway around one of my morning runs. Road work, running, sprint work, longer distance stuff. Now the thing is, I hated road work when I was a boxer. I was never good at running, and I didn't like doing it. I didn't like getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and going running around the golf course where I live in the middle of winter, pitch black, freezing cold. Not enjoyable. I've learned to love running as I've gotten older. I quite like it, but I only ever do short runs. And even as a boxer, you don't need to do big, long 7-10 mile runs. It's just not necessary. 3 to 5 miles. When a boxer says I'm going on a long run, 3 to 5 miles maximum, right? And then you know, if you can break your runs up and do like what you've just seen in that video, running up and down hills, and sprint work and sprint from one lamppost or street light to the next and then jog, sprint. But having a running program, absolutely vital, not terribly enjoyable. The next one that they don't particularly love is this. So skipping, jumping rope, again, something it's just critical for boxers, I think. The rhythm, the leg conditioning, the shoulder conditioning, the all over heart, and you can do so much with skipping. You know, you can do all the fancy stuff, but as a coach, I can control the skipping session so that they're changing speed and they're changing dynamics. We can throw exercises in amongst it. Really, really crucial, just as crucial as running, absolutely vital, okay? And the third thing that they, again, don't particularly like doing is this. So not just press ups, all of the conditioning stuff that we have to do. So press ups, sit ups, leg work, call it high intensity impact training, HIIT training, Tabata, whatever you want to call it, calisthenics, plyometrics, all of that stuff, again, is really important. You've got to be conditioned. Look, that's the stuff that is not about skills. It's about building a reserve of endurance that allows you to execute the skills for the period of a fight or however long you need to do it for. Road work in particular, ask any coach. I can spot a boxer who's not done their road work. For the first 30 seconds of the round or first minute of the first round, they're quite good, and then they start dying off a little bit. Second round, they're good for about the first 30 seconds. The rest of the round, they're struggling. They're really struggling to maintain technical discipline. They haven't got the endurance because they've not been running. Third round, forget about it. You know, they're lucky to get 10 or 15 seconds of effective skills execution before they're falling apart at the seams. So those three things that boxers don't love doing, but the mature boxers know that they have to. It's non-negotiable. They've just got to do it. It's putting money in the bank, because at some point you're going to need to make a withdrawal. I think Michael Phelps said that. All of that hard work, that thankless work, that's the stuff that gets you through them hard rounds. That's the stuff that if you're in this just for your fitness, you must use that, because that underpins your skills, and it's a really positive flywheel effect. The fitter you get, the better you get at executing the skills. The better you get at executing the skills, the fitter you get, and so it goes. Okay, so I hope you've picked something up from that video. Any questions, anything you'd like me to expand upon, please do let me know. And don't forget, go and download your book, okay? Look after yourself. My name's Fran and this has been myboxingcoach.com.